Hi, I'm Landscaper, and this is the Wannabe Composer series. Start part 7, don't know what we're going to do today. So before we start part 7, I'm going to just have a little listen back to part 6, get a feel for where that was, and see what kind of jumps into my brain. A while ago I found this sample, I really liked it. I thought, yeah, that'll work for something. I'm toying with, do I drop it in now, or do I go find something new, work on something else? So let's see if this sample scans. Also, today is the end of June 2026. It's unbelievably hot for this country anyway. And as all good British whingers know, it's too hot, it's too dry. It's a dry heat. So I'm sitting here absolutely sweating in the studio. So I might do this video maybe in dribs and drabs. And I'm drinking coffee. Idiot. Oh, it cools you down. Doesn't. So that's a wrong key, but you know what? It might flow in. Let's see if we'll probably put a filter or some form of sweep across. What key is that? That's E. I think this is G minor. 3 tones above. So, you know what, I might just try and see how this sounds. If I drop it by 3 tones, I'll use this transpose up here. That's really nice. I think I may just stick with this for a little while and see if anything comes of it. And what I'm tempted to do, the double time's gonna sound way too fast, I think, but I'm gonna try it. Actually, do you know what? That's not bad, and I reckon I could get some cuts out of that too, which would maybe turn it into a track. Okay, let's go with that. I'm gonna EQ this first. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, it looks like I might have put some stuff on this already. Oh no, I've got a filter, okay. Well, I can use that as the sweep in, and I think, let's just write it now, shall we? Get it done. Get it done. Okay, so moderate, yes, that's fine. We know it's usually around about 3 for the sweep. Again, with all these things, I'm never too worried about being too precise to start with, because you've got to have a little bit of freedom, haven't you? Fine, that'll do for now. Keep the ball rolling. Let's have a little look at the EQ that I've put on it. This is not a bad EQ. I'm going to leave it for now because again I don't know what's coming on top of this. And I think we've switched this. We've transposed it to what I believe is G minor. Don't quote me on that. But let's go and have a little look for. What do you start with? Usually I start with drums because this is a good place to start. But I'm tempted to have a little look for a synth to start with. Key of G minor. Love it. Shaver. We're definitely having that. Give it a quick color code. Do musical mode. Tighten it up. Okay, I really like this. I think we could do a little bit of panning and maybe reverb trickery. I mean, it's all the same techniques, isn't it, really? Let's be honest, that I use every time. But they add a bit of motion, a bit of flow. So, set up the panner first. Standard panner. Panner? What's a panner? Panner chocolat. Right. Oh my God. I told you it's hot. Right, we're going to keep it central. Do this so you can actually see it. I'm going to keep it central to start. And what I want to kind of do is drag it all the way to the right, all the way to the left. Let's see if that works. Okay, nice and subtle. I'm also going to run a filter on this one as well to bring it in through this section because we're going to drop into the double time if that still works and we're happy with it. So I'm just going to filter this section first, even though in my head my brain's going, but you don't know what cuts you're going to do on this double time bit yet, but I don't care. I'm doing it. Brazen. And I think I'm going to make this one a little bit higher, so a bit more extreme. Let's try it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, Right, that was useless, wasn't it? Absolutely not. Turn that off, that didn't work at all. So what I should have done was, you know, set my volume first. Okay, happy with that. Now also with I'm going to put a shimmer on it because I put a shimmer on everything. The shimmer's so good. But what I might do is rewrite some of that. I know when you change the size, it sort of morphs the tone a little bit. Go for a concert hall, and let's find a point where it works first. That's madness. I need to do that on this section here. Let's hear it on its own. So I want to get that effect out of it. So although I might not be able to hear it, I'm going to rewrite it over this section anyway. Right, that's fine. All I needed was a couple of them so I could see it, and then I'm going to be a bit more clinical about it. So we're going to put 2 dots either end here, and we're going to ramp it. Gauging the span I've done is over 2, so we're just going to copy that. Zoom in a little bit so I can see it better. So I know that after that I want it to come down to there. Go away, go away. Take that out, and then copy this section here. So this should make it more uniform, so it sounds more like the machine doing it. I don't really want the live. Okay, I like that. I was going to see what happens when I mess about with the modulation rate as well. Nothing particularly noteworthy. Right, okay, sod that. Maybe I'll try something with the filter as well, actually. Like a little counterpoint with the filter. Okay, now I'm going to do the EQ for this. I've got to decide where I want this to sit in conjunction with the other sample. And I think I want it to be really light, really thin. I'm going to remove all the bottom. I'm going to drag down the mid. Just let some of that top stuff come through, see what happens. It's lost a little bit too much tone, so I'm going to pull the middle up a little bit more. Let's give this a really nice width. The 2 of them aren't sitting really nicely, they're not gelling really nicely together. Quite happy with the lead, the top synth rather. Quite happy with this EQ. There's a little bit too much low end pop around here. And I might mess about with the reverb a little bit later on as well, but let's just try and get these 2 to sit nice. When I've got a kick in there as well, I'm probably going to take out, there'll be something around, usually between sort of 50 and 70, I guess. There'll be something here where the kick is that I want to notch out. Don't want to be too preemptive, so maybe we'll bring in drums before we start to do our choppage. Let's go search for drums. Found some drums I quite like. Going to give them a try. Do the music mode quickly to get them into time. Colour code them, shuffle them up the top, because that's just how my brain works. Duplicate them across. Let's get an EQ on these. Nice, I'm going to listen to them on their own in situ. That's pretty good already. Do my obligatory notches on 120 and 300 if they needed. It's very difficult to try and mix someone else's drum loop they've already mixed, because they'll have set all their levels, frequencies, blah, 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 before putting it together. I mean, if you've got the time and inclination, which if I'm writing a house track myself, I almost certainly will, keep everything split so you can mix it much better. Doing this, you're just trying to kind of think, what is it I want to come through here? And at the moment, I feel like it leads a little bit more high end. For the lower bit of the high end, you know, the piercy bit's already kind of there and a little bit crushed, which is nice, but I don't want that to be overpowering. So I'm going to try and just lift this little area here, drop this little bit here, but make it a little bit more narrow and cut off some of the very high. Still sounds kind of crushed, which is kind of nice. And then we've got the kick doing a really nice job there, thumping through. Right, so our kick main bit is say 54, 55, I think. So we'll go into the EQ for the synth. There's a high pass on this one, so we're not going to worry too much about the EQ there. But this main sample synth, we want to take out the bass area. It's so dry in this room, it's so hot. Right, so what did I say it was? So 55. And what we're looking for is we're looking for enough of the original sample's bass to come through, but the kick to have a nice amount of space and room. You see? Look at the V. To have enough space and room to get through. So I've lined the two EQs up for the sample and the drums. So at 145, I've got a reasonable amount coming through on the original sample. So I'm going to put another tiny notch in at 145 on the drums. Unfortunately for us, top end wise, there's very little happening in the sample, as you can kind of see here through this EQ. And so there's plenty of space here at the moment for this. However, you can see there is a little bit coming through at this top end, which I don't want to lose on the sample. So I'm going to nurse this down a tiny bit more on the drums. I'm going to put another little notch around 600, I think, on the drums. There's plenty of stuff going on around here. As always, at the beginning of the track, you don't know what the final EQs are going to be. It's almost a little bit pointless for me to get everything sitting just perfect now, when I don't know what other stuff's going to come in. I might bring in some hats, some shakers, whatever. And the drums will almost certainly have a second part to them and wind up in a bus that then has all my usual stuff put on top of it, which will bring it up in different ways and push different frequencies through as well. So I'm not going to go too far just for now, but that's kind of cool. So what I fancy doing now is I'm going to try and do some tiny little dinky loops, do some chops out of this original main sample. So to find out what I think is going to work, all I do is just set my loop parameters. Okay, those ones would be great for the classic kind of house build up and drop maybe. With these long chill tracks, it's less about the kind of, you're not building these for dance floor, right? So you're not building these to nice big drawn out build up suspense, you know, your listeners are really eagerly anticipating, and then bang, the drop comes in, right wherever, however you like, dance like a crazy person. I used to get asked if I was on drugs when I was dancing in nightclubs, and I weren't. But for this, these are long chills. They're not actually really meant to draw the listener in that much. They're meant to just sit in the background, play away, be a nice track while they're sitting there having a barbecue in this kind of weather, a couple of cocktails or whatever, right? So we'll see. Also, I'm trying to do these cuts on the double time. Now I'm just thinking maybe I should actually be trying to do, or look to see if I think there's cuts in the half time. Let's bring the original tempo in. And I might try and blend some of the original tempo with the double time. So I'll copy that across there. Let's get rid of that. And let's cut a few of these in first, see what happens. 2 of those followed by half time. Kind of nice, right? Okay, let's cut in something random. Shot one of these in. See what we've got so far. So I think that this little section here might work nicely as a final kind of quarter. So I'll do 2 of those. Now I'm going to do some naughty little tiny cuts. Do a couple of tiny tinsy wincy ones. It's all trial and error. We've no idea what's going to actually work. Okay, so those 2 don't work. That one doesn't work. I'm lumping that back in here. Those 2 might work as a end. Those 4 didn't work. Try and mix them up. guys, if you don't experiment with these things, you're never going to know. Now also you may have heard a load of pops happening through these. That's usually because you're cutting a sample, it's red, it'll cut it in a nice specific point. So what I tend to do is I'll highlight everything, zoom in on all the parts, set your loop parameter to sit somewhere in between the two of those so you can got the front and the back here, and then you want to zoom in as far as you can get to micro detail, and then you can just curve that one. And these are going to be minuscule because I'm zoomed in so far, and curve that one that I think you're barely going to hear them. That will have done it to all of the parts that you've selected. So in theory, you should then lose all your clips and pops. Famous last words. So let's try that with the drums. I think that's going to make a little bit more of a free-flowing loop. I just take a little filter sweep perhaps before it drops in maybe. I'm going to do a nice little half filter sweep there. Wasn't quite on the quarter, let's do it on the quarter, and I am going to do a similar thing with the beep 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 beeps. I think we'll have some kind of riser coming in here, or maybe I might use a part of the drums. I do this sometimes where I cut the end off. We can try it. We're going to the drums, cut the last one off, drag it to the front. That'll probably do. I'm going to time stretch it across those two, then I'm going to reverse it. A little fade in there, and a little volume lift. Gives you a little something, doesn't it? It's quite a weird change up to have it coming into that section now. I feel I might do that as a riser into the next bit where I might bring in some more drums, and I think I'm going to take that out of here, just pop in the previous one so it's just standard, and then I'll have these, the blue technical term, filter out. I'm going to have that drain away and then run another set of that. This will be our kind of second drop if you like. I'm going to move that back to give me a marker. And with filters that have got reverb on, or anything that's got reverb on, sometimes you might want to drag these down to get rid of the tails, any tails, or you can put in a volume track as well and curve the volume down. But we're going to drag the reverb out nice and far to make sure we don't hear it. And in fact, I might as well do the same with the filter, just have it filter right down to that point, because I'm going to let that go for a while. Let's jump a little bit further on, see if we can't put maybe some, I don't know, garagey kind of other hats or percussion, or I don't know, something. Actually, the original beat's a little bit garagey anyway, so I'm not going to bother with trying to find some more garagey hats. What I have found is some nice funk hi-hats that sound quite good. Ja-funk! Ja-funk! These sound great. They sound like the 1970s action movies in America, you know. Challenge is going to be to try and get these to sound good in this track, but I'm up for a bit of a challenge. It's so hot that my camera's just stopping working, so this is going to be tricky. What are you going to do? Okay, so all I've done is I've put the drums in a master bus. I've got the cymbals sounding quite good, the kind of 70s funk cymbals sounding quite good. Play you the bus quickly first. Now I've done a little bit of EQ on the main sample. Now I think I need to go and look for a bass. So I found a bass that I think might work. It's going to be a bit of a juxtaposition, and I think I'm going to want to fade it in. I've done a little bit of mixing while I've been off camera. I've done a little bit more EQing and tried to get this bass sounding good. So the bass itself, I've got a little bit of true iron on there, a bit of bass thickener to bring it out. Done a smart EQ, which I'm trying to set around the drums predominantly, not necessarily the sample yet. And then finally a little bit of compression. See, I've got the obligatory Colbert flannel on my neck now, it's that hot. I can display you the bass with the drums. Nice little 4-chord wonder. I've also popped in this other little synth sound here. I'll just play you, which I've got a little bit of reverb tail on it. And on the second one, this one and this one, I've got a little pitch shift going down. This sat quite nicely with the original sample. If I leave the bass out for now. Thought thought that made a nice little counter. I don't even know if I mean counterpoint. It works. I'm going to copy across the drums here. I'm going to copy across this bass, the new bass. I'm going to filter out the sample. Not sure how long I'm going to filter out the sample for. Maybe we'll try that, see what happens. And then we're going to just do a simple fade in, I think, first. See how that works. Nice, just got a really nice gust of wind come through the room as well, which was lovely. Can't tell you how nice that was. Okay, so it's all a little bit mid-heavy, a bit muddy at the moment, but again, I'm not too worried about the mixing just yet. I really want to make this sample and that bass work together, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time with that and see how we go. I think I found a way for the bass to work in, a bit slower, a bit easier, a little bit more of a gradual build-up, so it's not so at loggerheads with the original sample. So I'm just going to go back to the little drop before the bass starts its move up, so you can hear this. What I've also done is I've chucked in a couple of little cuts, little snippets of the original sample. I've dropped them onto a nice reverb track, so it just leaves a hint of it in there, which I might keep playing with as we go further. See these little ones here. I'll just have a stab at bringing these back in and see what these actually sound like over the top of this lot. Okay, a little bit too soon, I think. It would be quite nice to have a little loop of that just on its own because it's quite a good driver. So we'll do the old filter sweep, and I think we'll sweep across all of these. So we'll bring this one up. And a little sweep down at the end. Yeah, I like that. On to find something else. Right, I've done a little bit of arranging, moved a few bits about. Something wrong with the drop in terms of timing and getting that bass to flow in nicely. So I think I'll fix that now. And what I've done is a couple of little minor tweaks just on this initial drop. So this comes out of the sample being cut, sample played normally, sample being cut. Then at the end, popped onto one of the reverb tracks, just some drums, just so you can hear those come out. And then I've started to introduce the little reverb track of that sample. I'm pointing at the screen like an idiot, and that will follow in as the bass comes up through here. So you can hear those little reverb bits, just adding a little layer, kind of nod to what's just happened, and then bringing it into this next section. I've run with this section for a little while, and I've brought some of those little reverby bits back in across here, and now I'm going to go find some vocals. So I found a load of vocals that I think are going to work quite nicely. Catalyst, experimental pop vocals, lots of nice clean ones in E minor, perfect for us, given we're in E minor. going to do some work now on the main vocals. I'll put them all in the bus and see how we go. So I found a little like nightmarish kalimba with some pitch bend and stuff in it, which I think will work really nice for a middle 8. So I'm going to chuck this on and see how we go. So I think that's the middle 8. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring in some splashes. I'm probably going to take that big 4-bar chunk here, this one that runs from there to there, pop that on the end as well. I might add some other bits as a kind of outro, but that's pretty much me done now, I think, in terms of the bulk of it. Risers, maybe. I quite like the kind of cut breaks that I've done already, so I might tinker with risers and see if I like it. If not, just some splashes for significance. Maybe a couple of weird effects, reverby bits, delay bits, echoey bits, something like that maybe, just to give a bit of more movement. Otherwise, I think I'm there. So that's that for today. Hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have, like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. You know what you're doing. Buy me a boat, whatever. I don't mind, I'm not fussy. I'll see you next time.